Hello, hello. Hi, Emil. Okay, I'm just going to wait for a minute. Meredith is here, my amazing. So happy to have you. My queens. Hello, Isa, mi amor. Okay, I'm so excited to have you. Some of my clients here. Yeah, Lizzie's here. Come on, let's go. Okay. So today is a special topic because we hear a lot about money, making money, but very little around the feminine energy, no? I've been thinking of you an hour ago and this comes up. Amazing! Manifested me. This is how alignment works. We get what we need. Okay, so let's get started. The rest that are catching on the replay, amazing. Those that start joining will get what they need. I trust that. So for those that are here, I just want you first to close your eyes because I love starting with an intention. And the intention is going to be getting exactly what you need to keep evolving and expanding. Hi, Blanca. From Ibiza. Okay, so we're going to close our eyes. And we're going to inhale through the nose. And exhale. Releasing any tension from the whole day. Any fears, any doubts. We're going to inhale one more time. And exhale. Releasing any fear, any doubt, any lack of clarity. And one last time, inhaling and let go. And we're going to set an intention. My intention for you guys is that you get exactly what you need. But I want you to set your own unique intention. Okay? And even if I've planned 3 points, for those that know me, especially the clients that are here with me, you know that later I just channel whatever has to come through my throat chakra. So, and if you want to write it down, please do so before we start. Lovely. And when you have your intention, just let me know in the chat. Let's make this interactive for those that are here. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Amazing. So we have it. We're going to stick to that intention. Amazing. Thanks for the check. We're going to stick to that intention during the session, okay? During this live. And we're going to connect to a body. Our body contains the wisdom. And what we're doing is we're activating those codes that are already within us to experience the life that we want to create. Super. I'm glad you're here, Walter. Okay. So, I'm going to start with the foundation. Super, Lizzie. Thanks again. And the foundation, point number 1 that I want to go through is the mindset and energetics. Okay? Many of us are wanting to constantly do more. And we're in this hustle culture, which is what we've been conditioned. Doing. And from this doing, we're not going to the root cause, which is the subconscious mind, which is the mindset and energetics. Behind every action, there is a set of beliefs around yourself, around life that you've acquired. And from these beliefs, we are operating. So 10% of what we see in our reality is connected to the strategy. It's connected to our action. It's connected to a step-by-step. But 95% comes from the subconscious mind. Everything that you've heard around money, around what a woman in business or career looks like, or how to create money, anything that you've experienced when you were a child, what you've heard, what you've seen, is where we are operating from. So this is why I see that this process is more about unlearning these stories to remember who we truly are. So I want you to just observe what comes to you when it comes to the money topic. What have you seen at home? Have you seen struggle, hard work, success but not healthy relationships? What is it that you've experienced? What is it that you've heard? What is it that you've seen? And I'm just going to give you a minute just to reflect on this, because I want this to be an experience, not for you to register more information, but to see what's happening in your current reality and where this is stemming from. Because when we go to the root cause, which is our belief system, which is how we perceive ourselves, this is when our outer reality starts to transform. Okay? So for a minute, bring awareness, because awareness is key here, to what have you seen around money, and what have you seen, especially, okay, for my woman connected to the feminine energy, what was the experience that you had with mum, with the feminine figure? Okay? Did she struggle? Was she not connected to her purpose? Was she disconnected to her feelings? And I'm just going to give you a minute. Did mom and dad work very hard to achieve money? Did they have a fulfilling relationship? Because when we are talking really about abundance, it's really richness of everything. Of time, of growth, of expansion, of love, of health, of purpose, money. And I'm really talking to those that want to connect to the deepest purpose, gifts, and share them with humanity. Because when we are disconnected from our purpose and our focus is solely money, we're not going to live a whole life. We're going to lack this wholeness. We're going to feel empty. We're going to feel it's never enough. So my wish for you is that you're connecting to your purpose, which can only come from you knowing yourself, unlocking those gifts, and there sharing it to the world. And let me know in the chat, what is it that you saw? Was it struggle? Was it easy for them? What generations do you come from? So for me, for example, I come from generations in which they were going through wars, nothing to eat. So for me, this money work is so deep because I'm breaking those generational patterns. Okay? And let me know in the chat, what is it that you saw? If you want to share it with me. Struggle and never enough. Hard work, never enough. Thanks for sharing. So if money equals struggle, struggle again repeats. And we have a desire to create from ease, from purpose, from impact, from love. Just imagine that our conscious mind, which is really operating 5%, 10% of this reality, desires money through ease, through love, through wholeness. But our subconscious has all these experiences and associations that money equals struggle, never enough. Mom destroyed her feminine for money, just imagine. So she became more masculine to create this money. Excuse my hair, excuse the wind, but just we're keeping this real because this is about authenticity. So this is what we get. Okay, amazing. So just imagine if mom destroyed this part of, she disconnected from her feminine to make money. She constantly operating from this masculine. Imagine all the associations around the feminine, okay? So for me, this first part is about awareness of all the stories that you experience around what is the feminine for you, what have you associated to the feminine. So for example, many of my clients that come to me are very career driven, or hustle driven, constantly in this doing, which is the masculine. And we need the masculine. But they're disconnected from the feminine, which is the ease, which is the receiving, which is the nurture, which is the love. And this is because they've associated the feminine to weakness. So we start operating more from the masculine and disconnecting from our true gift. So we only allow ourselves to receive and experience wealth when we are operating from the energy of struggle, when we are operating from the energy of doing. Okay? This is why the second part of this live is connected to the feminine. What is the feminine for you? And how is this associated to money? And this is for men and women. We have both our masculine and feminine energy, but we live in a culture that we're operating more from our masculine and the unhealthy masculine, which is constantly sacrificing areas to thrive in one. This is why when I work with many of my, especially one clients, they seem very successful on the outside, have all the riches maybe in the world, but then they lack fulfillment, or they feel it's never enough, or they don't have loving and real relationships. They're all based on approval or wearing these masks to be accepted. So what is for you the feminine and what is for you the masculine? I'm curious. I want to see what you have in your mind. What is the feminine for you? What is the masculine for you? And where do you feel you're operating from? What is the feminine for you? And what is the masculine for you? My clients, you can also answer, even if you have worked this part with me. Okay, thanks Tasha. Feminine, more empathetic, communication, okay. Caring, nurture, which is love as well. Beautiful. With a soft look, like a bodily image. Okay, this is interesting. Many people associate the feminine to good looking, to the external, to the beauty, but not necessarily. Many women seem feminine in the outside and they're solely operating from the masculine, disconnected from their relationships, from the love, from the nurture, and constantly in the doing. Okay, I love feminine is vulnerable, is healing, is love. Wow, masculine is power, anger, destruction, limits. Okay, interesting, the associations that come up. Feminine is creativity, nourishing. Feminine is receiving, allowing. Masculine is doing, power. Ooh, okay. Masculine, no emotional language in business cases, which I've been told to do. Wow, no emotional language. Just imagine. Oh, God. Okay, amazing. So many of the associations that we have here are actually the unhealthy feminine or the unhealthy masculine. So feminine is empathy. I want you to think of a mother. She's nurturing. Masculine with noise. Okay, tell me more about that. Masculine with noise. I want to know about that. Okay, so the feminine, think of a mother with a child. She's loving. She takes care of it. Nurture. The kid cries and mom is there to love, to give them security, to communicate, just to be, right? And then the masculine, I want you to think connected to the masculine, the part, so some of you said power, boundaries, doing, Okay, so if mum is taking care, no, the baby is born, she's taking care of the kid, what does the masculine represent then? He's doing, okay, protection, providing maybe, right? The security. Okay, so that would be the feminine and the masculine, the healthy feminine and the masculine. Okay, and we came here as humans to integrate and balance both. What happens? We tend to be predominantly more one. Now, in Korea, the conditioning that we have received is to constantly do, to do from the sacrifice, to not express our emotions. Look what Natasha said, no emotional language, right? Because expressing the emotions, we have been taught that that equals weakness, when actually it requires courage because it's uncomfortable as F. So just imagine. Okay, I'm reading all your comments. Okay, like powerful men seem to be loud and demanding. That's what I think of the masculine. Okay, wow, interesting. So when we see like that, the masculine, just look at the association that we have with the masculine figure. Okay, back to the child story. I'm more nurturing, caring. Baby wants me if she's upset, of course. Hubby's more playful with her, more physical, protective in a different way. Beautiful. Protection, providing. Okay, so if we have the association, I'm going to pick the association, for example, that someone picked around men. Okay, they seemed too loud, they seemed too demanding. If we have these associations, my dog, sorry. If we have these associations around the masculine, what we are going to be in this case is, or we start operating more than from the feminine, and we disconnect more from this structure and discipline, or we attract men that are very feminine, because the masculine for us represents all these negative associations, and I don't want to feel that. So for you, I would be interested in seeing the relationship patterns that come to you, because unconsciously what we're doing is repeating again and again certain patterns, the associations that our subconscious mind has, okay? So what happens usually at a career level, that the conditioning that we have received is constantly doing. And we forget about the most important part, which is the being you. And the feminine connects us to the receiving. That is the feminine energy. It is connected to the receiving. When we are disconnected from the feminine because we have all these negative associations and narratives around the feminine energy, what we do is we also disconnect from receiving more money. And if it comes, we don't enjoy it. Or we feel very scared of it going away. Okay? So I want you to observe how your receiving container is. How do you feel when you receive without doing, without having to prove? And I put the other day an example in one of my group sessions. I was like, if someone comes in the streets and just gives you like a random gift, I was talking to women there, no? If a man comes in the street and gives you a random gift, what would you do? And many were writing down, oh my God, what does he want from me? Or what do I have to give in return? So just for a moment, observe what would happen for you if a random stranger comes and gives you a gift in the street. What is the first sensation? And I don't want you to answer through the mind, because the body is the subconscious, which is connected to our feminine energy. And the body is the one that is telling you what is going at a subconscious level. How do you feel when you receive, when you're not doing from ease? Not having to prove yourself. When you're not in this control state, or this hustle, or this struggle. What comes to you? And write in the chat when you feel it in your body. Okay, it's okay to take it. I've worked on it. But if you haven't done anything and someone just gives you just for being, without you having done anything or prove anything, just for the fact that you exist. What comes to you then? What feelings come to you? I will ask why. No, that's a good one. If a person has a good energy, I'll take it. Okay, if suspicious, I take the gift and walk away. Okay, that's connected more to fear. Beautiful. So there is a part of you, look, that receives from a place of fun, but another part is suspicious. Okay? Doesn't trust. And this lack of trust is one of the wounds that we have as women. And especially from other women, not only men. This lack of trust. So the feminine is the opposite. The feminine is trust. But if we have had past experiences, especially for many of my women here, shine. Okay? You just have this energy that radiates, that you shine. So what you've experienced is when you have shine your light, you have been judged. You have been rejected. So a part of you dims it. And here we're blocking or receiving, because what we don't want to experience, again, is those fears, those emotions. And that part that we're avoiding to feel is really what is going to take us to the next iteration of ourselves. Unlock a part of us that is more authentic, that is more real. Yes. Someone says, yeah, obviously one of my artists here. Yes. When you shine, you were rejected. So this part that felt pain doesn't want to experience it again. That is the subconscious protecting you. This is why even if your conscious mind desires more, if your subconscious is registered to this receiving part, pain, you're going to block it. You're going to block it in some ways. Okay? I would try to figure out the intention of the other. What does he want from me, right? Exactly. So there is a part that is not trusting. And I'm going to give just an example that happened for me lately, okay? And this is the consequence of this work. I was going to the supermarket, and I had so many bags. And then a man just he was like, I'm going to help you. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And I was like, Anna, actually practice the receiving and put yourself in that discomfort, because we're breaking many limiting patterns connected to your receiving. So I was like, actually, yes, thank you. And all the thought patterns came for me. Like, what does he want? Does he want something from me? Does he want to know where I live? Does he want something in exchange? And all these fear-based thought patterns came to my mind. And this was the perfect opportunity for me to bring this subconscious that is creating my whole reality, connected to money, connected to my relationships. It gave me the opportunity to see all the limiting stories around it. So I had connected the receiving part also to danger, to fear. And we all somehow came here to shift this, okay? Because there are higher levels of receiving. This is about expanding our container. Best in the game. Oh, bless you, I love you. Okay? So, I love all the things that are coming for you connected to the receiving, because my intention for you is to bring awareness to what you associate. Because that is your feminine energy as a man or a woman. How you feel when receiving. Many men also feel this guilt or this burden or this underlying expectation. So they're carrying all the weight on the shoulders and they're not expressing their truth, right? So this is about observing how we relate into this feminine energy, because most of us are operating constantly in this masculine, which is for the new ones joining now, it's connected again to this doing, to this discipline, to this step-by-step purpose direction. And what we're doing as well, men and women, is starting to connect more to this feminine, to the ease, to the fun, to the joy, to the love, to the nurture. Okay? Beautiful. So, lovely. Let's see if there are any questions here. Okay, connected to the receiving. Any questions, please bring in the chat. Bring it to the chat. Or connected to your feminine energy. We now know that the subconscious, all the beliefs that we have around money, the stories that we have around our worthiness, how we feel worthy to receive X, money, love, joy, pleasure. We now know that all these things that we've experienced as a child, what we've heard, what we've seen, they are passed down generationally. And if you are seeing this, you're probably the cycle breaker of your family. Breaking all these limited patterns so you live a more free life. Because really what we're craving for through the success, through the money, it's really freedom. The freedom of being us. Because what we've been conditioned is to wear so many masks and be a version. The version that others want from us versus our truest version. And how are we going to connect to our truest version? By unlearning all the stories that we experienced at home, in your education, that what you heard from mum and dad, because that came also from your granddad and great-grandma. Okay, how can I heal my fears once I'm aware of that wounding? Okay, well, that is a deep question. The first step is awareness. Okay, the first step is bringing the awareness to those patterns, seeing all the stories that you have associated to being you, okay, and to money and to the whatever your desire is, okay. I feel that when we have a desire, a vision, an intention, this is coming from our higher self, okay, and the purpose really of this desire is for us to evolve. It's for us to expand. It's for us to release what is no longer serving us. So the first step is, what is your heart craving for? Because this is giving information about you. So for example, for me, when I had this, when I started this journey, first it was connected to my body. I had a low self-worth, low self-esteem. It never felt enough. So I started this work there. And that made me know myself deeper and heal those wounds. Because through knowing you, you can start loving you. When someone comes and tells you, you just have to love yourself, that doesn't work like that. You can't love yourself if you don't understand parts of you. And here we are. This is the journey about knowing ourselves. The more we know ourselves, the more we love ourselves, the more worthy we feel to live in an expansive life. And this is really about living a life on your own terms. Because maybe like what luxury means for you is something that is different from me. For me, it's just the beautiful nature and mountain and living in abundance in many forms. Okay, so answering to your question, the first step is awareness. Second, see all the stories that come for you, the ones that you bring in consciousness to. And don't bypass any emotions that come to you, because many people think that being high vibe is rejecting emotions, no? Like one of my clients said today, was telling me today, I hope you have a happy day. And I answered back, well, I don't know if happy, but I hope real. And real for me is with all my whole range of emotions, because that means that I'm alive. And we tend to reject so many of our emotions during the day. We're not manifesting through our emotions. That's part of the human journey. We are really attracting from the dominant stories that we carry in our system, which are mostly unconscious. And those stories, which are beliefs, are thoughts and emotions attached. That's why healing the emotions is part of the process, what we're really doing with the emotions is alchemizing them, because an emotion is energy in motion. This means that it's not leaving, it's transforming through acceptance, through love, okay? And observe the stories that come to you. That is where I'll tell you to start, okay? You can also start with one of my free masterclass. I also have a 1-month confidence accelerator, which is really the foundation. Okay, let's see. How can I consciously choose to operate from my feminine in situations where I go to my masculine? First, observing, where do you go to your masculine? You can bring me an example if you want. Where do you go in the masculine? That is the first thing. And what do you associate that situation if you were in the feminine? So, for example, for someone that controls a lot, that is constantly controlling, which is the opposite of the feminine, which is trust, what would it mean not controlling certain situations? And that is the fear that we tend to avoid. Give me a situation if you want, okay? Or anybody can bring me one, and we can see it. And you're going to see it through your body, how it feels. If it's expansive or if it's contractive, no? If you want to bring me a situation, you can bring me, okay? I'm going to go to the next point, which is connected to how to shift going through from like a more stress life to peace, okay? And the question that came a lot in my stories was the overthinking. The overthinking part, which connects us a lot to stress, is really the cause of underfeeling. When we are constantly in the mind, which is what we've been conditioned to do, being constantly in the mind, operating from the mental perspective, is more the masculine. So we start to disconnect from the feminine, which is the body. And again, I'm not saying that the masculine is wrong. It's also balancing it with the body. That is really what embodiment means. Embodiment means being in the body more than in the mind. Because when we are in overthinking mode, what we are avoiding is feeling certain fears. And when we're living in stress, is because our nervous system is in hyper alert mode. It's like literally you have lions for your subconscious. It feels it has the boss, the team, whatever it is, like if it was a lion chasing you. So we are constantly in alert. And when we are in hyper alert, which is the hustle, that is the hustle. When we are hustling and grinding, we're in stress mode. Our cortisol levels are higher. And when we are operating from stress, a part of our mind actually narrows. So we are not seeing opportunities. We are not experiencing ideas that truly connect us. And what happens? Many people associate, as we wrote in the beginning, some of you wrote at the beginning, more money equals more struggle, which equals more stress. So what we do is we create less money because we've associated more money to more stress. Because that's the way that we've learnt to create money. Through stress, through no time, through doing. And here's the thing. The first thing that we have to cultivate is the belief of the possibility of making money through a different place, through a place of love, through a place of time expansion, through a place of ease, through a place of joy. That is the first belief that we want to cultivate. Because when we start cultivating that belief, this is when we start to attract situations and people that are showing us that possibility. Doing it from a more soft energy, from a more loving energy. And many of my clients, many of them are doing very good in the money area, what they're really wanting to shift is shifting it from the struggle to that part which is more feminine, which is more connected to the ease. When I say ease, it doesn't mean you're not doing. You are. But the doing is connected to peace. It's connected to love. That is true abundance. If I'm only operating from, this is what I have to do, and I have constantly like this, and 100 to-do list, that is disconnecting me from my truest abundance. Okay, when I'm in my work through paying attention to my body, can I start to break the struggle for money pattern? Observe, okay, where are you operating from, okay, when it comes to work, the doing, and what comes to you when you start actioning from a different place. So the first part is start observing, okay? Observe, like, what are the situations that come to you in which you have to constantly struggle to receive. That is awareness. And then start seeing all the thoughts that come to you. What happens if you stop? What would happen if you stop? What would happen if you would make money from ease? Because behind that, unconsciously, there are associations. What if it leaves? What if I have to do more of other things? What if it's not enough? Whatever the story comes to you. Ask, what if? Start getting curious. What if I make money from ease? And observe what comes to you. Because that's going to give you a lot of information around your patterning. Okay? Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to answer some of the questions that I got in my Insta stories. One of the questions, I got the ones that repeated most, okay? How to make right choices when I feel lost in my life. Okay. The first thing is, what if there is no wrong or right choices? That's the first thing. Because every choice got you to this instant. And this instant got you to this discovery of yourself. So from where I operate from is that everything is always working out for me, no matter the action. We are very afraid of making the wrong decision because what we're really afraid of is of failure. And for me, success and failure is neutral. But before, I was very afraid to fail. This happens a lot in the conditioning of like women and men that are very perfect or have to do everything, very perfectionist, let's call it, okay? Which comes a lot with the good girl or good boy conditioning. So we are very afraid of getting it wrong. But what we're really, really afraid is of being rejected, not liked. And that's what we tend to avoid. If we start doing this work of shifting those fears and knowing ourselves, you're going to start seeing failure very differently as part of the process. It's when we were talking about the receiving, which is the feminine energy. We are very afraid to receive. Because it's not only receiving the love, the pleasure, joy, expansion. It's also feeling the safety of receiving people disliking you or receiving judgments. And a person with a big receiver container feels safe in both sides. Because not everybody's going to like you, my love. And that's important too. That you have you. And this isn't about being liked by others. This is about being you. And expressing what wants to be expressed through you. Okay? I don't know if anybody here related to this question as well, but I thought it was really beautiful. The other question that I got was connected to impatience and control. Okay. Impatience and control is it's the unhealthy feminine. Okay? I was control freak number 1, and impatient still comes to me as well. Okay? Like, to be honest. When we are impatient and in control, it is really coming from a fear. Always, behind every behavior, there is a fear rooted or belief system rooted. So when we're trying to control, I just want you to think of, I don't know, when you were meeting a man or a woman, getting to know them and dating, and you're constantly like controlling the situation, or I have to be this and that, and trying to be liked and putting a lot of effort and this and that. You're repelling that man or woman. Or just think on the contrary, no? I don't know, like someone being very needy with you. That energy, what it's doing, it's actually blocking more things to enter. It is repelling. So you want to see that. Where am I operating from? And without judgment, okay? Really, I feel that this journey is about self-compassion, guys. Not about judging ourselves more. Okay? It's about self-compassion. And self-compassion comes from understanding you. That we're doing the best that we can. Okay? So, from this place of observation, no judgment, and self-compassion, we start to become curious. And that's going to shift like many of those patterns. Okay? If I stopped making things to make money, I would have to choose to do something from an unknown place for me. And that's what I'm scared, of course. I love this. Because what we are really scared of is of the unknown. But the only growth that happens is in the unknown. You know, Walter, for you, like a little story. When I start as an entrepreneur, I didn't start as an entrepreneur because I was like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur just to, like, I don't know, to be rich, this and that. No. My why behind being an entrepreneur is I wanted to connect so much to my purpose and do what I love. And in my work, that possibility, like, wouldn't happen. That it was, like, a decision that came, like, for me so big that it's like, this, what I do, doesn't exist. Like, I studied psychology. I studied many different disciplines connected to the mind. And in the end, what I bring, like, the purpose of, like, this Instagram on my services, it's an extension of me, which are many disciplines in one. And my own embodiment. And my transformations and what I've shifted. And how I've seen my clients shift with this subconscious work as well. So that was very scary. Very scary. But I did it. Because that's what I felt called. Now, I would never say, oh, the journey was so freaking amazing. No, like, it felt like a freaking death. It is very uncomfortable when we are stepping in the unknown. A lot of resistance shows up. And a lot of excuses. You know, I'm going to leave this for another moment. Or I don't have time. Or I'm not educated enough. That was my one. I kept from certification to certification to certification. You don't even know how many degrees, like, you don't want to know how many degrees I have. Like, for me, I was like, wow. And that came from, like, not feeling good enough. And that was the story that was keeping me away from my next level of expansion. So what we are really scared in the unknown is to feel. The more you start regulating your nervous system and your emotions, which really, wealth energetics, money mindset comes to working on your belief system, regulating your nervous system, and regulating your emotions. And that is 90% of the money results. Because if we experience fear, what happens is that maybe money comes, but it leaves quicker. Because your nervous system cannot hold it. If your subconscious mind perceives it as a threat, it's going to repel it. Okay? So this is why what we're shifting is the more we feel certain, like, discomfort and emotions, and start with those micro shifts, maybe little steps in the process, the more your body's going to feel safe. The more your body's going to feel safe. Okay? And understanding that the unknown is where the growth lies. But we are very comfortable in our golden cage. But the purpose of humanity is really evolution and growth. That's why our desires come through us, because we are the vessel that wants to take the action to experience more life and growth. Okay? So I hope I answered your question. Somebody else asked me, connected to this, to feeling, like, I feel sometimes I'm disconnected and not feeling anything. Why does this happen? That is called numbness. We are always feeling. Always. But what happens is when we are disconnected from our body, it feels unsafe for us to feel. Probably because you've been, like, I don't know, rejected when you were sensitive. Like, don't be too sensitive, or this or that. Don't show weakness. Whatever it is, you know? So we start feeling that our body is not a safe space, or due to trauma. So when it feels that it's not a safe space, we are more disconnected to our feelings. So I would return to my breath, my love. Start connecting. Okay, this is deeper than alive, okay? But start with connecting to your breath, because the breath anchors you to your body. And just try it for a moment if you're here and I'm answering your question. Okay? And start listening to your body. What comes to you? A person that is very afraid to feel is a person that is very afraid to live and is not living to their fullest. And many of us are disconnected to this. I was. And when I started actually learning about manifestation and this and that, I thought that if I would feel certain fears, I would attract that. But what actually attracts those fears is the more we push them away. The more we push them away. Because we are constantly creating projections, call it money, a relationship, your body, to know ourselves. It's like people in the fitness industry. Maybe they are pushing themselves, through constant struggle and sacrifice, and they don't see a lot of change in the body. Because it's not about doing more. The body is reflecting a lot what's happening within us. At an emotional level, at a mental level. Okay. And the last question that I'm going to answer, at least from my Insta story, and if there's any other here you can ask me, is when stress is such a big part of you, how do I get rid of it? Start doing this work. There is really nothing more important than getting to know yourself. I continue doing this journey. And part of the receiving and the feminine energy is support. When we are trying to do absolutely everything alone, we are shutting a receiver. We are not trusting other people. So we are creating situations that are going to reflect us this lack of trust. This is why practice connect to the receiving. What we talked at the beginning in point 2. The more we open ourselves to receive and feel safer in the receiving, which is also connected to a sexual energy, but that's another life. So I'll leave that for another time. If you're curious, let me know, and I'll organize a live around that. But the more we are connected and opening our receiving, we are going to allow as well more support in. We're going to delegate more as well. And we're going to open our channel as well for more money, more love and more pleasure. Because again, this is about creating richness and abundance of everything. Because we came here to live to a fullest. And I see this again in many successful people, that the biggest issue in what they bring me is that it feels it's not enough. And this not enoughness is because we are disconnected to parts of ourselves. And these are the parts of ourselves that we made wrong and that we're not fully expressing. So we're living for others' approval or stories versus our own authenticity. Okay? Any more questions before I leave? I don't know if... I think I answered the ones that repeated the most. Any questions that you want to ask me, it is your moment. Thank you, darling, for joining and for receiving. I hope this was an awareness moment for you to start seeing also the stories that hold us back in the end from living our fullest potential. And we all came here to shift this, okay? And this is about living in your unique authenticity. About being real. And realness can only come when we are honest with ourselves. There are part of ourselves that lack trust, or that are in control, or that have fears. And those are the ones that want to be seen. And when we integrate it, this is when we become more whole, more in love, and more abundant. Okay? So, for those that want to go deeper, you know where to find me. I would start with the Confidence Accelerator, which is the foundation. It is the foundation for you to shift these fears, know that we have of rejection, of loss, the imposter syndrome, these self-doubts, into being more you, more confidence. And for those that have this deep clarity, know that came here to serve, to connect to the purpose, I invite you to my deepest container, which is the 6-month live with me, awakening your abundant, unauthentic self. And you also have 1 year to a self-study platform. So whoever wants to go deeper, I welcome you into my energy, and you can message me. And for those that are not ready yet, consume the content, because I bring so much information. Come to my masterclasses or to my events if you're in Marbella. I love you all so much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming here. And have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now. And thank you, thank you, thank you.